Welcome along to EXFL Tier 2 Season X. We are here for round 2 of 22 in Shanghai, the Chinese Grand Prix. 1 week after Season X opened in Australia, down under. We've moved to, the Middle East-ish, Asia area. We have 17 drivers at the moment, still awaiting for 2 more to join. It will be 19 drivers. There's Nathan getting into his car, and we just wait for Frosty Life to get into his Red Bull and join the session. Right then, 16 minutes left of qualifying. Let's take you through the drivers. We've got Dello. Frankie making his debut today. Didn't get to race last week, but is in the Kick Sauber full-time driver, and we'll see what he can do. Warren out on track then, partnering the championship leader. Very feisty duo for Aston Martin, but yeah, Warren, who did well around here last season. Let's see what he can do this time round in the Aston Martin. I'm sure he's definitely going to get some good results this season after getting his first podium after 50 races in Vegas last season. We'll see what he can try and achieve. We've got Morgan, who had the chance of victory last week, but threw it away in the penultimate lap after a mistake. Nathan in the RB, who got a really good first race of the season, actually P8 from qualifying down in P16, so certainly a great race for him. We've got Ridian in the Williams, promoted to P2 after Eggy got a 5-second time penalty, so Ridian got second in Australia, so he's hoping to gain more ground in the Williams car. These, unfortunate, I think, disconnect issues retired him from the race last week, but he's back in the Red Bull. Slowly but surely going to try and make his way up. Josh Hewitt, also a contender for the win last week, but unfortunately fell down due to it. And we got Drifting, the World Championship leader for the first time, winning the opening round of the season. Last week was 16th. After just going off as he's invalidated there, he just went off at turn 1 on the opening lap, dropped down the order, and found himself winning by the end of the race. Just shows anything can happen in EXFL Tier 2 as Drifting will take his second win last week. And I'm sure he's going to be hungry for more, but he's the one to beat then. But I'm sure he'll be very close. We've got Lee, who's certainly, as he's on the Inters, certainly proven to have better race pace than quali pace, but we'll see if he can get into the top 10. Don't know if he's holding up Josh Hewitt there, who's trying to go for a lap, but he's decided to start his lap behind Lee, I guess. So that's the problem, but Lee's got caught on that curb that could easily spin you. We've got battling already between these two, but they avoid one another. Christian back in the McLaren as Adam in the Ferrari reserving. Second race in a row. Sets the first time on the board. We've got Christian on the straight then, hoping to gain some more points. Bluey in the RB. Unfortunately got disqualified last week after his car reversed or something at turn 3. We got Marine reserving for in the Haas full time along with Frosty Life, who's still trying to sort his Xbox Game Pass, I believe. But yeah, Marine, we'll see what he can do. Obviously joined back at the end of last season. We got Yonder making his debut in EXFL Tier 2 today in the Williams alongside Ridian. Yonder, a driver who I personally wanted to get into the league for quite a while, has finally decided to join, and we'll see what he can do at China. And we've got Stelios, who had a chance at pole last week but invalidated or messed up, or his wheel went all weird, so he couldn't quite get it. Retired after the first few laps because of an incident. Hopefully this time round he can show us what he's really made of. And we have Eggy, a contender right at the front as he begins his lap at China, as we have Chubster completing the lineup in the Ferrari, who got P4 in the end because Carbro got a 5-second time penalty for going alongside Morgan last week. So the order was Drifting won the race, Ridian was second, Eggy was third, Chubster was fourth as he now sets provisional pole, and Carbro rounds out the top 5 as I think Morgan just missed out by a 10th on Carbro for 5th. As Thies goes up to second, that's more like it for the Red Bull driver. Right, I want to find a car who's just beginning a lap. Ridian finishes his lap and goes P4 at the moment. And round the final corner, I believe that's an Alpine of Morgan to finish his lap. 32.0 time to beat. He puts a 33.0, nearly a whole second off. We have the McLaren of Christian braking heavy into the end of the straight, but I think he's on a backed off lap. Louis also on a backed off lap. So one of the Aston Martins, Warren, has invalidated. What about drifting? He's kept it valid. And in between them is the Alpine of Stelios. And also Eggy, as Marine just keeps leaving and joining back. Looks like he's got connection issues. But yeah, around the final corner for some of the drivers. Stelios begins his lap as drifting crosses the line to go P8, so you have to go again there. So Eggy around the final corner, what can he produce across the line? It's P4, so at the moment, Arab Chubster on provisional pole, 3/10 ahead of Thies. What a front row, what a top three at the moment. But there are still some drivers, plenty of drivers, who have still not set a time, including Stelios in his second race. Let's see what he can do. Into the first sector split, 23.7, down the hairpin, getting the throttle on, and now riding on board with the Renault powered engine. Flat through the left. Do not want to touch that inside curb. It will spin you. Same with the inside curb to the right here. You just want to keep the momentum carrying. Throw the car in and hope it sticks. Bit of a double turn here. Can be strenuous over continuous laps. Finishes the middle sector 51.1. So easy to lock a front, lose the rear here. As Josh Hewitt has a 5-place grid penalty for a collision with Morgan. Don't know what's happened there. As they head into the pit lane. But yeah, it's getting bad to worse for the Sauber. Grid pen, yeah. Anyway, Stelios, to complete his lap round the final corner, has kept it valid around all of the turns across the line. 32.0, just under a tenth. Snatches provisional pole from Arab Chubster. So Stelios, with 10 minutes to go, is now the one to beat. Yonder, still down in 18th. Hasn't set a lap time. About to begin a lap. Same with Lee's on an out lap. So we'll see what Yonder can do then. Round the final corner, just keeping it valid before he crosses the line, which he does. DRS open, keeping to the left. Riding on board with the Williams. Clocking 200 mile an hour as he goes down the gears. It starts to feather the throttle and brake as it's such a difficult turn one. It just keeps going on and on and on. And then you have to flick the opposite way for two. Throttle up and down. And then when you're confident, go full and finish the first sector. Keeping it right on the white line. 24.2. Heavy braking into the hairpin. Pretty much hits the apex. Gets on the power for the exit. And now the sweeping left and right. As there we go, there's Frosty Life. That will make it 19. Keeping it planted, looking good from Yonder. Bit wide, but he carries it on. Stays within the racetrack confines. Finishes the middle set to split a 51.9. Heading into the chicane. Taking those corners perfectly. And even just taking a little bit of grass. So hard, easy to lose the rear here when trying to feather the throttle. But he's taking it very nicely indeed. A bit of traffic at the end of the straight. Hopefully that won't be in his way. DRS open. As Marine leaves for probably the 10th time. Finishes the straight. Heavy braking then. One of the hardest corners to do. And trying to hit the apex. Misses it slightly, but will now get the power on. Loses the rear massively though. And the car in front of him is not getting out of the way, unfortunately. That's going to hinder Yonder. And he invalidates due to it, unfortunately. That was Stelios that held Yonder up. And ruined a potential, second row lap for him. So Stelios needing to check his mirrors a bit more. And Yonder will unfortunately have to go again. Marine better sort his Wi-Fi out. Or whatever it is that makes him keep leaving. So, 7.5 minutes left as Chubster comes down the final corner to begin his next lap. And we'll see what he can do. And sliding out the last corner is the Ferrari of Adam as well, beginning his lap too. Thies has found a little bit of time in the first sector. Carbro currently finishing the middle sector. Eggy on an out lap. Ridian has just began a lap. Morgan in the pit lane. Christian taking a little excursion into the gravel there as Lee goes into the top 10. Drifting. Down down on his time again. So the championship leader struggling to set a solid lap at the moment. Warren round the final corner. Let's see what he can do. Was good in qualifying last season in China. DRS Open across the line for Warren. And it's P6 at the moment for the Aston Martin. As for the other Aston, round the final corner, he might be going again for another lap because he's 1.2 seconds down. And we'll see the Williams of yonder. He might head back into the pit lane. He might not be fueled enough. But he is fueled enough, so he'll go again. And Eggy will begin his lap. And right behind him is the Red Bull of Fees. Let's see what he can do. Tier 2 Season 5 World Champion. Opens the DRS for the final time to take provisional pole. It is a 31.899. And we are into the 31s. Yep. These finally showing the pace after a really unfortunate Australian Grand Prix. He's back at the front of the field. But it's not over because Arab Chubster is 3.5 tenths up with 1 corner to go as Josh Hewitt now by 4.5 tenths takes provisional pole and Chubster joins him on the front row. But remember, Josh Hewitt has that 5th-place grid penalty. It cannot be removed. So the best you'll start is 6th. And that could mean an inherited pole position, maybe a potential first pole position, is up for grabs here. But yeah, improving constantly, lap after lap. Let's see what Ridian can do. I believe he did improve, yeah, by 4 tenths to get himself into the top 5, but that is quite the gap. Very close from Ridian down to, I guess, Warren. As Aston Martin, I think, are doing some side-by-side action as they head into the pit lane. Morgan's still yet to do another lap. Lee, I believe, has done his on mediums. Yep, so he's still got some time to find. Nope. There we go. Christian. I don't think he's on a lap. Adam looks like he's on a lap, finishing the middle sector. As Yonder and Eggy cross the line to go P6 and 7. So close stuff between the two Williams. Bluey around the final corner to start his lap. Dello hasn't really set a representative time yet. Frosty on his outlap. Nathan and Marine still in the pit lane. With 19 drivers, there's certainly going to be the odd blockage and even incident like we've seen with Josh and Morgan. Morgan currently down in 10th, still in the pit lane. Eggy's finished his lap. Yonder's finished his lap. Ridian, I believe, is heading into the pit lane. Same with Chubster and Josh. Dello has began his lap but already invalidated somehow. Bluey up by 0.5 tenth. Drifting through the middle sector then. Let's see what he's got. Still 1.3 seconds down. Do not know what's happening with the current championship leader. Christian to cross the line. I believe he's way down on his time. Yep. So we'll wait for more times with only under 4 minutes remaining. And this is anyone's game at the moment. Probably one of the top 4, and then there might be 1 or 2 more surprises. But Stelios can certainly find a lot more time. Thies, I'm sure, will be happy with his lap. Josh Hewitt, definitely happy with his lap. It's a really good time of 31.4. And in the chat, they were on about 31.5s here and there. So, yeah, very strong time from the top 2. Christian off into the grass. Bluey, heavy braking. Just misses the apex. Just. What about Dello? He's still invalidated. And Bluey, 4.4 seconds off the pace, will round the final corner. See what he can do. Can he improve on his time? He's only 0.5 second off the next car, which is Drifting, and goes ahead of Drifting. So Bluey ahead of the championship leader. And Frosty Life into turn 1. The first time we are seeing Armano in Tier 2 Season X. One of the most experienced, if not at the moment, the most experienced driver on the current grid after Sebastian Ferrugia's Tier 2 retirement after winning the championship last season. Second on the all-time list is the driver you're seeing right now in the Haas. Has won many races, has had many poles, has had many fastest laps and podiums and points to his name, and he begins a new season. And let's see what he has in store as he's dancing around the middle sector. On the mediums, however, and considering there's only 2 minutes left in the session, this might be his only run. So, yeah, interesting stuff from Frosty to do his one and only lap on mediums when he has plenty of soft compound tyres to use. He's got 2 cars in front of him. Shouldn't really be an issue. Nathan's on his outlap, and he's one of the 2 in front. Everyone's on their outlap at the front. Anyway, heavy braking for Frosty. 1 corner to go then. Let's see where he can place that Haas. It's a difficult corner to do as well because of that little yellow bump in the middle apex. Anyway, across the line for Frosty, and he goes P11 on the mediums. So I think that might be it for him. Morgan has just began his lap, but it's right behind the RB of Nathan. These drivers don't know how to start their lap on their own. But anyway, the top 7 on an outlap. Carbro has just began his, but he's invalidated. So I believe that might be the end for Carbro as well. Morgan has found a 10th and a half still, but he's going to need to find 10 times that amount to take provisional pole. Frosty, yep, I think he's done. Adam has just started or finished one of the laps. Dello also invalidated when he's began his run. That last corner really proving an issue before they even begin their lap. Josh Hewitt into turn 1. And then it'll be Eggy. Then it'll be Lee who crosses the line, followed by the Alpine of Stelios beginning his final run. And then the Aston Martin of Warren, followed by the Williams of Ridian. And then the Ferrari of Chubster. And then the Red Bull of Thies. And then the Williams of Yonder. And then Eggy. Eggy should be one of the last to cross the line, including Drifting as well. 20 seconds left for Drifting to cross the line. Got to get a little bit of a move on. He's got 2 cars behind him as well. Is one of them Morgan? It is. But Morgan's finishing his lap, I believe. So is Nathan. So round the final corner for Morgan. Where can he place that Alpine? It's only 9th as Nathan goes 15th. And that is the session over. So round the final corner, as Marine will qualify 19th. Can Frosty go again? No, it's 11th for him. Carbro has invalidated. It'll be 8th at best. And we'll see the next car of Adam. Heavy braking has found 4 tenths. Can potentially get himself ahead of Christian. And a top 13, maybe even 12 start if he can find a really good amount of time in the last sector. Round the final corner. DRS open for Adam to cross the line. It's a 1:33.3 to put himself just behind Lee, who brakes heavily into the end of the straight. And he's got the Alpine as Josh Hewitt extends his advantage, but he won't take pole because he has that grid penalty. Now we see what Lee can do across the line. And wait for Stelios behind him as well. Lee goes up to 6th and Stelios goes to the front row. And now we see what the Aston Martins can do. Warren across the line. It's only 11th, unfortunately. Well, Drifting's coming around the final sector at the moment. Next across the line is Arab Chubster. He just misses out on taking it P1. But at the moment, Arab Chubster is on provisional pole. Unless Thies can deny him. Thies round the final corner across the line. And it's P4 for him. But here comes Yonder. Across the line, it's P4 for Yonder. And now what about Eggy? He's also got some fuel left in the tank, as well as Drifting. The final 2 cross the line. Where are they going to place their cars? Eggy 7th, Drifting 3rd. Arab Chubster is on pole position for the first time ever in EXFL Tier 2 by 32 thousandths ahead of Drifting, who finally got a lap in at the end. What a close qualifying for the top 6. And yeah, unfortunately, Josh Hewitt will drop to 6th because of that grid pen. And then, so as you can see, 5-place grid penalty for Josh Hewitt. That means Arab Chubster inherits pole position, Drifting alongside him on the front row. Stelios P3, Yonder P4 on debut. Thies, it's a top 5 start. Josh will drop to 6th. And I'll just get the rest. There we go. I always like to take a photo of the quali just in case of anything weird. Josh Hewitt already moving on. He said, oh, well, race time. Carries on. But yep, nothing away from him. That was a really good lap from Josh Hewitt. And I forgot to mention, it is raining for the race. And Australia last week was fully dry in qualifying and the race in Tier 1. Fully dry in qualifying, but it was full wet in the race. This doesn't look full wet, though. These look like intermediate conditions, and who knows if it's going to stay like this the whole race, or maybe it will a little bit. Interchangeable conditions, potentially. Don't have to ram every bit of information before the ticking noises, because we have the formation lap back, so we can see what happens. But without a doubt, there's surely going to be intermediates for every single driver out there now. And drivers who are good in the wet in Tier 2. Got to admit, Josh Hewitt, he's pretty good. There are the ticking noises. And let's hopefully see if less than half the grid cannot get disqualified on the formation lap this time. Right, formation lap is go. And Chubster will lead them away. Let's look at the tyres. Everyone's on intermediates, to the shock of no one. Right, take that off. Don't need that. Don't really need that at the moment. We know what tyres everyone is on, so yeah, at the moment we'll keep it at that. Right, Chubster on pole for the first time ever. He joined Canada last season. Got the odd top 5 finish here and there. Got the odd top 3 qualifying. Remember Austria, he was right up there the whole race in the bid for the win before he got a 3-second time penalty. And here and there, he's shown promise. And as some of the top guys from the end of last season got promoted, he was one of those people who you thought, yeah, take them out of the equation. He's definitely up there, and he has taken pole position. But now the question is, can he convert it into a win? How good is he in the wet? Number 99, ahead of the championship leader, Drifting, who got the lap in the end, which shows good strength and character for the Aston, and good confidence as well. And so far so good. No one's been disqualified, as we are 2 sectors of the way in already. Stelios also in third as well, hoping to see him. And Yonder, the second row, full of new surprises. These P5 as well. These versus Josh. This is going to be kind of nostalgic. Ridian in 7th as well. He's got some work to do if he wants to make his way back up through the field. Lee did qualify in the top 10, so hopefully he can make some ground too, as he's got his teammate right in front of him. They've all got to be cautious heading into turn 1. Morgan's got a big job to do. Same with Warren, as they're just outside the top 10. On the grass there is the Williams, I believe, of Ridian, as Marine leaves and joins for the 7th millionth time. So Frosty ended up 13th, big gap, as Warren's holding up quite the field behind him. And looks like it is going to be a one-stop. No driver is going to be able to take those inters the whole race. But you never know, there could still be 1 or 2 that try and gamble it. But with 19, as Chubster and Drifting have actually, I think they failed their run to the line. So Stelios and Yonder, as long as they get it right, do have a little bit of an advantage, because they're closer, as the rest will pile up onto their grid slots. Marine will be the last one. Dello qualifies 18th on his debut. Yonder qualifies 4th on his debut. But we'll just wait for the last car to get into their grid slot, and we will begin the second round of Tier 2 Season X. It's the Chinese Grand Prix here at Shanghai. And here we go then. Who's going to get the best launch? The 5 lights come on for the drivers. Chubster on the right, Drifting on the left. And it's lights out and away we go in Shanghai. The lights went weird, but anyway, 5 wide as we go into turn 1 from 3rd down to 7th. But Chubster has held the lead down the inside. Eggy, what a start from the Mercedes, as there's a spinner of Stelios already down the order, unfortunately. As it's Chubster from Drifting, from Josh Hewitt. What a start from the Sauber as well. And Thieves stays where he is out of all that. Lee is 6th. Warren up to 7th. Carbro 8th, Morgan 9th. Yonder, it's been a horrible start for the Williams, as Frosty gains a place. Dello up 5 places, 6 places now for the Saubers. They're absolutely flying down the inside. Is the RB also trying to get in on the act with Frosty, as Nathan's trying to fight him. We look forward, single file through them all. And now we can enable all this stuff. As we look at the back, Adam also dropped down the order. Stelios has got all to do then. A little bit of a tag moment there between the McLaren, as Stelios goes round the outside. So biggest gainer at the moment. 6 places for Dello, as well as his teammate getting right up there. The only 2 spots that haven't changed are the top 2, as well as obviously Marine, because he's not here. But anyway, Chubster still leading them out. And Stelios making more moves as he gets past Bluey as well. So let's see what he can do, as he's obviously the biggest loser at the moment. And yeah, everyone's still obviously on inters. We'll keep on that for a sec. So, Chubster leads out as we see them all in the background. Bits of spray covering the cars. Chubster from drifting and down the inside. We're seeing Thies trying to make a move, but in fact it's the opposite. It's Lee trying to make a move on the Mercedes. Mercedes 5 and 4. Lee up to 5th place now. Some brilliant starts from Josh Hewitt and both Mercedes, as well as Warren and Dello on his debut. That is the first lap of the Chinese Grand Prix. And we're seeing wheel-to-wheel stuff between Warren and Thies. Thies just hasn't got the grip. And Warren will go to the inside, maximise on his mistake. But Thies is going to try and keep his nose in there, going around the outside. He has the gap to the inside. Is there going to be contact? Light contact between wheels. But Thies defends, as my screen has gone black. And there we go, it's back. But Thies back in front now of Warren. A second in front of him now. Does Warren dare to the inside? No, he switches to the outside. And can he try and go around the outside of Thies, who's parking his car perfectly? But Warren has a run. But Thies has the traction to stay in front. And it's all kicking off behind. Morgan up to 8th now in front of Carbro. Then the two Williams. What about Stelios? He's still behind Frosty, but he's closing in as Thies got ahead of Warren until there's contact and Thies goes off because of it. So Thies drops down the order there, down to 12th. And gets tagged a little bit. I think he rejoined a bit unsafely into the Sauber. And now Nathan's on the back of him. So unfortunate for Thies to drop down the order. That allows Warren up to 6. But the top 5 are getting away. And mainly the top 2 are getting away. Josh Hewitt, as much as he's had a good start, is falling under pressure from both Mercedes drivers as Adam is making a move on Christian. Wheel-to-wheel stuff. Slight contact between the pair, which means Adam going off wide. Same battery levels for these two. Here comes Eggy to the inside of Josh Hewitt as Morgan's getting past Warren. Eggy later on the brakes. Can he get the car stopped? Yes, he can. Positions his car perfectly. Look at that for a textbook overtake. Eggy up into the podium spot. And Warren staying ahead of Morgan because he's gone onto the grass there. And through goes Ridian on Morgan as well. And drifting, keeping Chubster on his toes as Josh is coming back at Eggy with no battery between the pairs. Josh going to brave it round the outside. Yes, he is, but he's going to go a bit deep. And Eggy spots the inside. Josh is ahead, however, and he's going to keep ahead. Brilliant stuff from the Sauber to keep in front of Eggy. Brilliant battle between them as down the inside. Ridian stays in front of Morgan. Battles galore. Yonder currently trying to hold on to the last points paying position, and there's an incident between Frosty Life and Nathan at turn 2, which has let them both get spun down the order, and Adam just trying to pick up the pieces as well, and shuts the door on Nathan to get up into 15th as Christian's there as well. We see this overhead cam. Christian outbrakes himself, tags Nathan a bit, tags the Ferrari as well, and they're all still facing forward. But yeah, Christian, who's one to always be a little too late on the brakes, has caused another tiny incident there. But for now, he's trying to put Adam under pressure and now tags Adam. Keeps him facing forward, however. And yeah, it's treacherous conditions. And at the back, it's mayhem. So we look further to the front then. Let's see what's going on. Down the inside, Thies and Stelios battling for 12th. And it looks like it's getting a little lighter, but I can't really tell. 3-second gap between the top 2. And here we go. For the lead of the race is Drifting going to try and mount a challenge to Chubster to the inside. The Aston versus the Ferrari. And Drifting takes the lead. But Chubster, well, wanted to hang it around the outside. Couldn't. And Drifting has done what he needed to do. And on lap 3, we have a new race leader. It's Drifting 09 6207. As Carbro and Yonder fighting away. Wheel to wheel, round the final corner. Carbro breaks deep, goes over the curb though, and Yonder will take no second invitation to get the place. Dello currently running in 11th though, but under pressure from Thies and Stelios closing him in. Up to the front. Chubster still trying to stick with Drifting. Josh keeping a healthy gap to him and Eggy, and Lee, I'm pretty sure he's loving it at the moment, running up in 5th with his teammate. And Warren slowly closing in on these guys. Ridian over a second behind. And like I said, it's going to be a bit of a gamble to see who's going to try and go the whole way on inters and who's going to have to stop. And when is the best time. And if there's going to be safety cars like that, as Carbro makes another incident, tags Yonder. What's new as Dello's trying to get in on the act, trying to go around the outside of Carbro. Got to wake up pretty early in the morning to have the strength to do that. Not strength, guts to do that. As Marine sets the fastest lap of the race. I think he actually is in now. But it's a bit too late unless there's a safety car. As, whoa, I thought there was a change of leadership there. Well, we'll keep on there, because penalties are also going to be an interesting one. Josh has nearly got a second gap ahead of Eggy. Of course, no DRS, so it's not really going to matter too much if you're 9 tenths or 10 tenths behind. So Morgan currently running in 8th after starting down in 11th. It's not a bad place, but he's in a bit of a Williams sandwich. As we see the two Mercedes staying in formation. But Dello now makes himself up into the top 10, wheel to wheel with Carbro. Can they get on the brakes and make the corner in time? Just about. Dello stays in front. Carbro trying to go for a switchback. Dello is up into the points after starting in 18th. On his debut, he's now P10. But yeah, Thies is not done with the points, and I'm sure he'll want to get back. Carbro blasting his battery, trying to get back at the Sauber, who's going defensive to the inside, so Carbro will have to brake early and see if he can go towards the inside line a bit more. As Dello goes wide, Carbro spots his opportunity. So close to contact between the pair of them. Wheel to wheel through turn 2. Carbro now going to try another switch. And can he get his car placed with the traction? Not quite as well. But he could still spot a gap to the inside. Dello leaves the space, and that will allow Carbro to go to the inside, brake a little later. And Dello gives the space, gives the room, but now gets the traction. And they're still wheel to wheel. A brilliant battle between Carbro and Dello at the moment. But Carbro lets him go as Dello more confident on the throttle. As the rain pours and Carbro and Dello fighting for 10th. It was a great scrap. As Thies is under pressure from Stelios as well. And I'm sure Carbro will try again on Dello soon. Will he try it into this next corner? To the inside of the chicane. Yes, he will. He's still got a wheel alongside. Dello leaves in the room, being very fair and clean on his debut, but firm as he's ahead again of the McLaren. And now they're just trying to get to 100% throttle without losing the rear of the car. And now they're onto the straight, and they can deploy their battery. Eggy is over a second ahead of his teammate because he's trying to mount another challenge on Josh Hewitt. Ridian close to Morgan, but not close enough. And wheel-to-wheel stuff again between the Sauber and McLaren. Carbro backs off slightly. And will the Sauber get better traction? Yes, he will, because the McLaren has lost the rear slightly. So a great lap of action between them. Christian also getting past Adam, who switches to the inside. Can he get the car stopped? Goes deep, and Christian will allow him to get the switch back. And yeah, Adam a bit too late on the brakes there. Stays in 17th. And wheel-to-wheel stuff between. Well, it was until Stelios unfortunately went a bit too deep. As Dello and Carbro are fighting again. Carbro around the outside. This time he's ahead. So close to contact. And now he's got the place. Brilliant stuff from the McLaren. And looks like Dello's going to have to stay behind unless he absolutely launches it to the inside, which he doesn't. And Stelios also too far behind to make a move on Thies. But does tag the back of the Red Bull slightly. This is all about patience as Bluey gives up in the pit lane to become the first retirement. This is all about patience, precision, and, well, braking. Because running into the back of someone under these conditions is so easy to do. As Stelios has got Thies now. Thies really struggling, turning opposite. If it's a left corner, he'll turn right. If it's a right, he'll turn left. But at the moment, he's just trying to keep on the island. And we look further forward. Carbro and Dello close again. Carbro sliding the McLaren out. And drifting has nearly got a second ahead of Chubster, which he has now. Eggy still not close enough for a move. Yonder and Ridian, they're a bit close, but I don't think any sort of move's going to happen. But Dello is certainly blasting his battery in a bid to get past Carbro. It's a brilliant scrap so far for the last couple laps between these two. And down the inside goes Dello. Is Carbro going to try a switch back? He's going to try, but Dello has the momentum as Thies also goes for a move on Stelios for P12. So Dello back up into P10. He sees a gaggle of cars in front of him, all for the taking if safety cars or strategies happen. They just got to keep going. There's still 18 people, and there's certainly a big chance of a safety car. Wide goes Dello, and that allows Carbro to send it to the inside. Still wheel-to-wheel stuff between these two, and Carbro eventually gets ahead. But Dello not giving it up. But now Carbo will have the momentum. Slide contact, but no love lost. And Dello and Carbo still wheel to wheel. And it looks like Carbo's going to have the inside. Will Dello switch to the inside? He's going to try it, but backs off. And Carbo, wise enough to know when to brake, and gets back in front. It's a great scrap between these two. But looking further front, I'm sure Ridian's going to want to get a move on, as is Yonder, currently in front. Morgan up to 7th, Warren up to 6th. They've closed on the Mercedes, as Josh is leading a bit of a train here, but the top two in a league of their own at the moment. Chubster, who got 4th last week after not getting any penalties, taking advantage of those who did, staying strong and confident. And at the moment, yeah, he could definitely be showing himself as a new contender. Because we had the likes of Drifting, Josh and Eggy and Morgan, I guess. Speaking of which, there's a move going on here, and it's Warren versus Lee. Lee, who was a bit questionable with wheel-to-wheel combat in Australia this time round, doesn't really put up too much of a fight, and Warren gets up into 5th until Lee breaks really late, still makes the corner to be fair to him, and round the outside, Lee still hangs on to the place. Great stuff from the British driver in the German team, as Dello and Carbo fight again for 10th, with Carbo winning out this time round. Frosty closing in on these guys as well. Looking into turn 1, and Lee getting ahead of Warren, but messes up his traction to go wide, and now they're going to make slight contact with wheel to rear wheel. Warren goes over the corner to cut the corner, now goes to the inside of Lee, will go so there's no contact, and he's got a little bit feisty there, and Morgan's trying to get in on the act, trying to gain a place or two, and Warren has to give him the space, so Morgan to the inside, trying to take 6th away here, and it looks like he's going to get that. So Morgan capitalising on the mistakes there. Lee went really wide, tried to turn back into turn 2. Warren was there, also went deep because of it, because he wanted the place. And that is dangerous on the curb. But yeah, Morgan now in between them and up to 6th. That's allowed Eggy and Josh to get away. Josh sliding under the pressure. He's got double the battery does Eggy, and he's all over the back of the Sauber. Chubster over a second now behind, drifting. It's only been 8 laps as unfortunately Frosty's left. Great race so far, full of battles and overtakes. Not really mental chaos like last week, which is great to see because it's improved. And we might see another overtake. Eggy's in the slipstream. Now he's using his overtake. Josh really not putting up that much of a defence in terms of battery. Eggy to the inside. He wants P3 back. And will he have to brake later to get the place? Yes, he will. Morgan also getting past Lee. Lee braking later. Both Mercedes trying to get what they want. And at the moment, Lee holds on to P5 as he sends Morgan wide. Now Warren's going to try and get the place back. Lee going really defensive, but he goes into the pit lane out of all that. So Eggy got the place on Josh in the end. And even though Ridian, as Yonder also follows Lee in, so even though Lee forced Morgan off a bit there, he's into the pit lane after only 9 laps on those intermediates. Interesting stuff in terms of tyre wear. So now Morgan finds himself on the back of Warren. And Eggy's got a 6-second gap to make up if he wants to close in on the top guys. Well, a few people have that red thingy. The spanner. It's red or blue for some of them. And I believe I saw one person with yellow fuel light. As we have a yellow, and it's Nathan, unfortunately, round. He may have made contact with Christian. I was looking at the fuel lights. It is Thies. So Thies, well, obviously it's wet, so you'll save some fuel. Maybe he's gone. Maybe that's its decision making. Eggy, though, is flying. He's already at, over a second ahead of Josh, and he's closing in on the top 2. Do not discount Eggy. Kick me out of my party, why don't you? So 3 seconds for Warren, as obviously he went over the corner. 3 seconds for Dello, so he gets the next one. But it is his debut, and still, he's halved the field, even if there's been some pit stops. Very impressive stuff so far. As for, what's his name? Yonder, he's pitted, but still a solid debut so far. As we have another yellow, and it is the Ferrari of Adam, who's gone for a spin at one of the 2 corners where the curbs will send you. As Thies is under pressure from Frosty, and they're all over the curbs. Thies trying to get Frosty off the track there, and Frosty gets a time penalty. So Thies back in front, blasting his battery to be in 11th, as we see Josh Hewitt into the pits. Only on lap 10. As into the pits as well, Ridian. They carry on. Going wide is Stelios. So Josh Hewitt into the pit lane then. If there's a safety car, this brings Eggy right back into play. And those who are deciding to stay out will benefit. It was the same last week. Josh Hewitt decided to pit. Then there was a safety car, which brought Drifting back into play. But Drifting's already leading the race. Drifting locking in, showing why he's the one to beat at the moment. Thieves into the pit lane. I thought that said full wets then. And Nathan into the pit lane too. Drifting 1.6. Eggy is taking time. Half a second here and there. Out of Chubster at least. Pulling away from Warren, who's under pressure from Morgan. All over the back of the Aston Martin. Carbro 6 seconds behind Dello. These two had a battle and now they're keeping at 1 second gap between one another at the moment. And Stelios closing in on these guys too. Lee 10 seconds behind. New Inters are going to be so much better as well. We'll look at the gap to leader. Lee currently 28 seconds off. And Yonder all over the back of Frosty as well. So we'll see what Morgan can do. In overtake. Warren has got 90% to play with as Yonder gets past Frosty before they even get to the next straight. And Morgan makes the move on Warren. Pretty easy move. And he's got up into 4th. Gets ahead, well ahead. So it's all good until Warren makes a slight bit of contact. Do any of the leaders pit? No. Why would they? They've got the gap. And Morgan pits. Warren stays out. So Morgan in. Does a Hamilton. And will pit for a new set of inters. It always looks at certain points like they're getting... like the track's getting a bit brighter. You know, Carbro stays out. Dello stays out. He's now up to 6th. Stelios stays out. And we'll see where Morgan comes out in respect to Lee. Sliding around the final corner. We see Yonder as well in the background. And look at that. Lee has undercut Josh Hewitt by a big amount. That just shows how well the undercut is on new intermediates. Lee is ahead as Morgan drops down behind Frosty Life and just in front of Ridian. As Ridian struggling for grip there. But yeah, Lee really pulling all the stops at the moment to be the net pit stop winner. As we see Thieves and Christian. No, Christian's just in the pit lane. Stops, yeah. Wow. So just like the dries, new inters are going to gain you seconds a lap over old inters. But the fact they've only pitted after 10 laps means they have to do 18 on these. Could it even be a potential 2-stop race? As for the front guys, they're thinking, no, 1 is enough. If I can take these this long, it's fine. But surely no one's going to try and go the whole race on 1 set. We haven't had any VSCs or safety cars, and we're 11 laps in. It's been great, clean stuff for about 90% of it. And very enjoyable. And Drifting, as soon as he got past Chubster, has never looked back. And Eggy is looking forward because he was nearly 6 seconds behind Chubster. Now he's only 2. Eggy, one of the fastest men on track at the moment. But though, look, you can clearly see on the new tyres just how much quicker they are. Seconds quicker as Chubster is now in. So not a bad call from the Ferrari because he can try and get a little undercut on Drifting, close the gap and cover off Eggy at least. Warren into the pits as well. And I guess Drifting's not pitting because he had that big advantage in the beginning anyway. So the top 5 still yet to pit. As Yonder now really enjoying those new inters, as is Josh Hewitt. So Lee from Yonder, from Chubster, and Josh, this is going to be close between them. Josh gets in front of Chubster. It seems like the second lap of the new inters. They always go wide at turn 1. But yeah, Josh Hewitt has undercut and got ahead of Chubster. Because remember, Josh was 3rd, Chubster was 2nd. Now they've swapped. So, what? 4 seconds down the road. At the moment, if Drifting pits, he will still be ahead of Lee, who's driving a really good race at the moment. Lee, 1 podium to his name, but currently the lead pit stop runner. But Yonder, on his debut, also closing up. He's really found himself on this second stint of the race, putting Lee under pressure. You can see him sliding through every corner here, and Yonder's got plenty of battery to use too. If anything, Lee's holding him up. And the question is just how long do these guys decide to hold out on their first set of intermediates? As we see Josh and Chubster closing in, 4-way fight, which could be even for the win, 2nd or 3rd. But it's definitely for big points. And Lee's going to find himself under big pressure. He's been very defensive so far this race as Warren fights with Frosty and gets the place. Can Yonder do the same to Lee? Nathan 3 second. Yonder flies by Lee, who doesn't put up a defence. So Yonder now the net pit stop driver, as the rest don't pit. But do we see a move from Chubster to the inside? No, it stays single file. As these four all know they're in some very good positions. As Carbro into the pit lane also does a Hamilton, as he'll pit for new inters. Adello finds himself fourth as Eggy's into the pit lane as well. This will be crucial to see where he is. I honestly think he's going to be quite a bit far behind these four, which he is. There you see Chubster, and there is Eggy, not even exiting the pit lane yet. There is Ridian and Morgan, who have got ahead of him, or at least split him. So as Chubster and Josh trying to fight. Chubster trying to get ahead of Josh, but stays behind for now. Heard a little bit of contact, but it should be fine. Look at that. Eggy's lost so much time. Over 5 seconds behind these group of cars. But obviously they are on older inters. It will be interesting. So Yonder all the way down to Ridian. Dello running third. Obviously he hasn't pitted yet. Same with Stelios. But Drifting has got such a big buffer in case of any safety cars. As Yonder gets past Dello, who's spun. So Dello on those really old inters. I don't think they were close to him, so he must have made that mistake on his own. It's time to pit, unless he's got a puncture, which I don't think he has. So a mistake there on his debut for Dello. Unfortunate stuff, as Morgan closes up to the Sauber. And will we see Drifting into the pit lane? He's about to lap Adam. Drifting does decide to pit now. Little deep, but it's fine. Anyone close enough for a move? Josh gaining on Lee. Not close enough. As Morgan flies past Dello. And Eggy's going to try and gain on this too. But I believe Dello will pit. What about Stelios? Stelios stays out. So Drifting puts new inters on. Round come the rest of the cars. Yonder versus Drifting. Who's going to be in the, well, net lead? I believe it is DSM Yonder. And Drifting will exit behind these guys. So Drifting stayed out too long, but he has done half the race on one set, and he is going to be a very quick car now on these new set for the second half of the race. But he is behind Chubster, Josh and Lee. He's got some overtaking to do. As Dello pits. Frosty 12th, sliding into turn 1. Carbro 11th. And as Josh and Lee, Josh down the inside of Lee. Looks like it was aggressive but fair. It's Josh ahead now. And this is allowing Yonder on his debut to pull away. Yonder, after not having the greatest start, dropping down from 4th, is now finding himself in the net lead and finding himself closing on the lead, which is Stelios, who's still yet to pit. And if there's a safety car, not a bad strategy from the Alpine. But yeah, he's going to find himself under big pressure now, as we're halfway through the race, as what has been a very enjoyable, very interesting Grand Prix so far. As Drifting already making moves. Chubster sticking his nose in to the inside. Drifting loses space and gets the place. Slight bit of contact, little wheel bang, no love lost. And that's the second time we've seen Drifting overtake Chubster in this race. And now for the lead of the race, DSM Yonder on his debut now takes the lead of the Chinese Grand Prix. And Stelios is going to find himself under pressure if he does not pit this lap. Any sorts of moves. Drifting makes another one to the inside. And he's pulling off some great ones on those new tyres. So what does Stelios do? Does he go round for another rotation? No, he decides now is the time to pit, which is probably the best time. Otherwise he was going to get dropped by about 8 cars behind him into the pit lane. And we'll see what the rest can do. Morgan, Eggy, Ridian and Warren, those 4. And then in front are the rest. Looks like Lee's starting to struggle. Remember, Lee pitted earliest of these guys and got a big undercut, but now he's paying the price. Carbro gets ahead of Stelios, who's going to drop down to 11th in a bit of free air. So, Yonder leads the Chinese Grand Prix, 1.7 seconds ahead of Josh Hewitt, who's had a 5-place grid penalty, made a really good start to 3rd. Had his strategy be right in the middle of everyone and currently finds himself 2nd, and he's got Drifting right behind him, who's really at 1 at the moment. Have a quick look at tyre life. So Lee and Yonder pitted on the same lap. So Yonder's really doing a good job at the moment. As Marine pits for a second time. Yonder extending his gap by another half a second to Josh here. Under pressure from Drifting, who's going to close the gap to Yonder to try and take the win back. He's had to do some overtaking, but it's been a breeze so far. It's a new kind of drifting as he drifts onto the straight, wheel to wheel with the Sauber, who's not got the battery really to defend. Yellow with the Haas dropping further down of Frosty Life, and Drifting gets the place on Josh. Will he brake later? Yes, he will, but Drifting has the inside line. But Josh is still going to try and go around the outside to hold on to the place. Chubster and Lee also fighting, but Drifting has the momentum. Drifting is up into second. And Ridian versus Warren. Warren going off track there a bit. We have a yellow, and it's Marine to the inside. Warren, as Ridian leaves him no space, and Warren gets all out of shape because of it. Drops down the order. Well, loses time, should I say. And yeah, got a bit too close between those two, who I'm sure could have been up there, but have made mistakes. Eggy versus Morgan, who are closing in on these guys. And Drifting, 2.4 then. He's got to hunt down Yonder for what would be a brilliant second win out of 2 this season. As Frosty spittle, that's into the wall for Frosty. Goes straight on. Not happy with his race. Eggy close to Morgan, but he'll probably have to wait until the straight for a move. 2.4 seconds between Yonder and Drifting. As we see Frosty enter the pit lane, he will probably retire from the race. It's probably what's best. Yep, you can see that gap go under 2 seconds now. And there's still quite a lot of laps to go. And there's nothing at the moment that's going to show any doubts that Drifting cannot still win this race. I'll tell you what though, Chubster's coming back through the field as well as he gets past Josh Hewitt. P3 is now belonging to the Ferrari. Josh Hewitt once again will brake later. Can he try a switchback? Yes, he can, because Chubster's gone a bit deep. And now Josh Hewitt and Chubster still wheel to wheel, heading into the last corner. And Josh does back off a little bit because they're going to lose a lot of time. Josh decides to pit for a second time, followed by Lee. And Christian gets a 3 second. So it is a 2-stop race as Lee has overshot the pit lane a little bit there and nearly gone straight into the wall. So these guys are pitting for a second time in the race. No safety car. No VSC. They're just relying on plain old strategy. And yeah, Stelios really picking it up into the 42s now. Considering these guys were doing 44s. So Stelios could find himself... Look, he has found himself ahead of Josh by a big margin. As Eggy has got ahead of Morgan before they even get to the hairpin. Drifting 1.5 now. But Yonder's got plenty of battery. He knows what's coming. And he's trying his best. But this is a brilliant debut so far for DSM Yonder. 3 seconds behind his Chubster, I'm sure, would still like to hang on to a podium. And yeah, where's Lee? Lee obviously pitted with Josh. Is a few seconds behind him. So many want to fight for the win, but only one of them is going to come out on top. So many want to fight for the podium, but only 3 of them are going to get it. And so on and so forth with the top 5 and 10 to see who gets the points. Dello, still P12, which is still an impressive debut considering he started 18th. Yep, the most impressive one at the moment is still Yonder, but this could be his last lap in the lead. Or is he going to pit? Depends how long he's been on. 8 laps, and Lee pitted. And there we go, 8 laps. When people like Drifting took them 14. Has anyone even taken that right yet? As Ridian gets a penalty. So, is Drifting going to try and take his intermediates to the end of the race? Because he made it 14 laps. And he just has to do that again, really. No one's really going to challenge him or gain a whole pit stop on him. Yonder into the pit lane then. Warren stays out. Is Warren going to also try and do that? In a bid for getting more points. Lee, time penalty. Look at that. Stelios is up to 6 now. Yonder and Josh. Yonder in front. Morgan exits the pit lane. In 10th, only 2 of the top 10 have penalties as Ridian pits again as well. Della up to 11th. Look at stops. So you can see the top 6, 1 stop. For the rest of the top 10, 2. So Drifting once again finds himself in the lead. Last week, it was a bit of a comeback job from nearly dead last, second last, to find himself in the fight. He's really growing into a new version of himself as Nathan gets a 10-second for speeding. And I believe Drifting again finds himself close to lapping Adam in a Ferrari sandwich at the moment. There are drivers who join in a season, whether it's at the start, middle or end. And as Marine leaves, unfortunately. We have a yellow. As I'm trying to make a little piece here. Oh my god. And that's a safety car. Even though Marine left, there's been a big crash. And that has just changed the face of the race. Because Marine has... What? He left, so how's... I don't know. And Nathan gets a drive through under safety car, but that is going to bunch up the pack. And those people who pitted for a second time, Morgan, Lee, Josh and Yonder, have just lost out big time. Drifting pits. It's a free stop. Another penalty for Christian. And it's going to bunch the field up again. New intermediates. Nathan, another drive through. Slow down, man. As Yonder will find himself in second. He just misses out on getting back in front of Drifting, but he's up in second. Josh Hewitt fourth. Eggy fifth. Stelios into the pit lane again. Carbro 6, it's all happening in the pit lane. They're all pitting again for new intermediates to go to the end of the race. Dry in 10 minutes. And that was said 4 minutes ago. Interesting. Very interesting. So, what, in about 5 minutes now, the rain will stop. And will it get dry enough at the end? We're probably going to run our laps. But you never know. This race has had a lot. So now the field will bunch back up. Nathan's race is kind of already done. He's got 2 drive-throughs, I think, because he can't decide to put it in AI when he needs to under safety car. He can't serve the drive-throughs either, so he's just got to catch the pack and serve them after. Frosty Live still in this race, to be fair. Will serve his I don't know why he's serving it now. Join the pack and then serve it. Adam, he needs to get a move on as well, and he's deciding to pit as well at the risk of being lapped. Join the pack and pit. This is going to take a few laps, which, you know, actually isn't a bad thing because, well, I was getting onto this. It's going to be dry soon, but I wouldn't say that soon, Ridian. What's going on? There we go. Yeah. I know Ridian takes some pretty good tyre gambles sometimes, but this isn't one of them at the moment. Thies, currently 13th. 4 people ahead of him have 3-second time penalties. 9th is still on the cards. And if he plays his cards right, Adam's technically net 10th, but there's probably going to be a bit of a gap. But the top 8, clean as a whistle at the moment. No 3-second penalties for both Alpines. And, well, look at that. 6 different constructors in the top 6. Let me check tyre. I have checked tyres. They're all new. The oldest tyres are Josh Hewitt's on 3 laps. Which, you know, by the end they might be a little shot, but... Oh my god, Nathan, how many more do you want to get? So it seems like there was something between Carbro and Morgan. Carbro may have gained a position on Morgan and Fairley, don't know. But again, safety car shenanigans, and it's these 2. Not for 1st and 2nd, but for 6th and 7th. Yeah, Nathan's been disqualified. That was just bound to happen. What is Christian doing? We see you, mate. Like, As Frosty Life has also retired in the pit lane. So that's both Haas cars. Morgan back in front of Carbro now. If Carbro... Oh, and now Eggy has a thing. Don't give Eggy a pen. He's not involved, man. Safety car probably be out for another lap. Okay, I hope it's all good now. And Morgan's got the place back. So maybe, I don't know, go in AI. So then there were 3 cars ahead of these who had... Oh, because Ridian pitted. So Ridian's back on Tinters after the softs clearly weren't the right one. Right then, safety car will be probably in this lap on lap 21. Drifting from yonder, from Chubster. You can see, well, apparently the rain is going to stop soon. Probably a lap or so at the restart. That was close. Josh, Eggy, Morgan, Carbro, Stelios, Warren, Lee complete the top 10. Dello, then Thies, Ridian, who's still got to catch the pack. Christian, who's lost all his sanity. Adam, who's still back in Australia at the moment. Yep, it's going to be an interesting one. Australia, I think we saw 4 safety cars in the span of about 14 laps. So the fact it's taken us, what, 18 laps to get anything. Bigger improvement. Oh. Adam, 3 second under safety car. At this rate, I'm pretty sure the safety car has to come in this lap. Ridian will definitely catch. Christian should catch. Don't know about Adam. It is in this lap. Apparently Nathan wasn't driving when he got his drive-thrus or something. Don't know. But anyway, we've lost both RBs. We've lost both Haas cars. So we're left with 15 drivers. 13 or 14 are going to be here for the restart. Unfortunately, Adam is way too far behind because he decided to pit. So Drifting will have to lead the restart. And now he's got a bit of a fight because the rest of the race was looking to be smooth sailing for him. Out in front on his own. But now he's got to lead the restart right. And hopefully it goes well. Hopefully they know, don't be in too high of a gear. It is going to slow you down when we get to this corner. Resort to maybe first or second. But when does Drifting go is the key. The safety car is in the pit lane. And it's all down to Drifting now to see when he decides to go. Not allowed to go alongside at the restart like Carbro found out last week with a penalty. Yonder keeping a little bit of a gap to Drifting, who's deciding to go now. And we get the Chinese Grand Prix back underway. Lap 22 of 28. 7 laps to go. It's Drifting from yonder. Chubster, then Josh. Eggy all over the back of the Sauber. Then Morgan, Carbro, and Stelios, Warren. And under pressure from the Mercedes of Lee. Clean around the outside. Chubster versus yonder as well. And what a move from the Ferrari to slide his car up in a second. Great move from Chubster. Great move from Lee. As they're the ones who have gained a place so far. So Drifting 6/10 to the next car. Are we seeing any sorts of moves? Josh sliding into the hairpin, but keeps it on the island. Single file for these guys. Down the inside. Thies versus Ridian. Ridian's going to get the traction. Thies is going to get the traction to stay in front. And Thies, the only driver of the bottom 7 to not have a penalty. So he could still gain 3 places up in front if he carries it on. The top 8, though, clean as they are. And single file within a second of one another. But Drifting is pushing to the limit. This is what I was trying to say. I think his helmet is Chinese inspired as well. It's red and yellow. That's cool. But I'll say you join either at the start, middle or end of a season. And then the next season you try and make it your own. And you keep trying. And then there's just one season that very rarely just clicks for you. And at the moment, this start of the Tier 2 Season X 2025 year is working very nicely for a certain Aston Martin driver. As for an Alpine driver, he's trying to get past the Mercedes, he's trying to get past the McLaren, as further in front, the Alpine is trying to get past the Mercedes, as the Mercedes goes onto the curb and getting forced out wide there. Lee, once again, getting his elbows out a bit too much, and that has dropped Carbo down to 9th. As into the pit lane, Josh Hewitt. Oh, wait, no, that thing's there anyway. What? Josh Hewitt's pitted again for some reason, and now it's all going weird. Lee is holding up an absolute train behind him. Stelios in 7th, Carbo 8th. Dello now fighting Warren for 9th. Gives him the space. Drifting has over a second advantage. Yonder's still close to Chubster. And Dello now in front of the Aston Martin. Why on earth has Josh Hewitt decided to pit? Oh, it's for softs. No wonder. He's taking a big gamble here. But surely it's not ready. It's not even stopped raining. Josh Hewitt. That is probably not the strategy, unfortunately. And he may have just thrown away a lot of points. But, yeah. The dry period is coming. But when? Lee versus Stelios. Lee making the Mercedes as wide as possible. But yeah, getting a bit borderline dirty at the moment when he forced Carbo off here and there. Carbo to the inside. Stelios breaks too deep and goes and hits Lee. That's fully on Carbo. Lee was allowed to turn there, and that's dropped him down the order. Carbo a bit too trigger happy with his brake. And that's dropped him behind Warren as they're wheel to wheel. The rain should stop in about a minute or so. Drifting still leads out, and it's almost done raining. On the off-board, it looks like it has. Morgan then, up to 4th out of all that, ahead of Eggy. Lee still 6th, ahead of Stelios, as Carbro still trying to get past Warren. Do any of them follow Josh in for the soft compound gamble? Nope. Chubster trying his heart out. He knows there's still a potential chance at victory here, as Thies has unfortunately gone a bit too deep into the pit lane to try and pit. Warren and Carbro fighting again. Carbro around the outside. Thies 10 seconds for speeding. Warren leaves the space. Carbro to the inside. Has got the place. And it has stopped raining now. So 5 laps to go. What will happen? Right, let's have a quick look. Josh Hewitt is currently 33 seconds off the lead. 5 to go. There's no way. Surely? There's no way. It's just increasing at the moment. The track is not getting dry enough yet. But I will say something. Those inters are going to start to shred. And Yonder is putting Chubster back under pressure after getting caught on the restart. These three look like they're going to be the podium, even if one gets a 3 second. They've got the pace. And Morgan's still under pressure from Eggy, who's got 100% battery. You can see Chubster is all out of shape there, and Yonder is blasting his battery in a bid to get past the Ferrari. And DRS may even be soon enabled for the drivers, but before DRS is enabled, Yonder's going to try and move on Chubster, but can't quite go to the inside. Eggy's got the place on Morgan, though, for P4. Lee versus Stelios, still defending like a lion to help his teammate up in front. He knows he's got that 3 second as well. And at the moment he's going to lose 2 places, which will drop into 8th, which is still some good points for him, I guess. Is going wide there is Ridian. So Josh Hewitt, let's have another look. Now he's just losing 4 seconds this lap. It's not working. Thies 3 second now. Unfortunately, we got a yellow and Thies is out. He's just decided to crash, and that's another safety car because Thies has lost it on a straight, the idiot. How do you lose it on a straight? And why is Adam stopping? Why does that corner allow people to stop? And Josh decides to pit again for softs. So here's the interesting thing, right? They are all going to pit for softs, surely. But here's the other interesting thing. The safety car will come in next lap. So, more chaos. So these crashed on the straight. Some bloody how. Right, they're going to all keep to their delta, and they're all going to pit. So, here's the thing, right? With teammates, Drifting's on his own, Chubster yonder, Lee and Stelios are going to probably get held up, which means Dello is probably going to go up to 6th at the moment. Warren may lose out a little bit, same with Ridian, same with Christian. So that should level itself out a bit. I don't know why Hewitt decided to pit really early. Catch the field first. Warren, another time penalty. Drifting in. Does anyone gamble to stay out? Yes, Stelios has decided to stay out. And I think he's the only one. Apart from Carbro, this is going to get so chaotic. Warren, 10 seconds, severe collision with Ridian. It's all kicking off. And into the pit lane. Madness ensues. So Drifting will obviously be 3rd, then Chubster. As coming down through the field is Christian. Is he going to split the Ferrari and the Aston? No. But he will split the Ferrari and the Williams. Wow. It is pretty much a bone-dry track now. With Stelios and Carbro 1st and 2nd. So Drifting just has to be careful here. Adam, 3-2. He has a drive-through, which he also needs to serve. And the safety car will be in this lap, no matter what. And I don't think Josh Hewitt is going to be able to catch this train. Which is really unfortunate. It's actually going to be even close if Adam will catch. We're going to have 2 laps of running. And that should be surely more than enough laps for Drifting to calmly and sensibly, without a rush, get past these guys. But one wrong place at the wrong time area and he gets held up, and Chubster, you never know. But there are going to be incidents, I'm sure of it, because, you know, there's 3 people who've decided to stay out. Sorry, 4 people who've... What? Chubster's put Inters on! Well then. Chubster may have just thrown this completely away, unless Inters are somehow still better than Softs. And they might be. But it's getting dry, so we'll have DRS on the last lap. Oh boy, here we go. Here we go. We see Ridian and Warren catching the pack. Warren's on Inters as well for some reason. Adam looks like he's not going to catch these guys. Same with Josh Hewitt, unfortunately. So, Stelios will lead the restart, and he's already gone as Josh Hewitt gets a 3 seconds. So Stelios will lead them round the final 2 laps. From Carbro, then Drifting. Let's see what he can do, as he's got to try and just do his best to close up. As we see on the restart, Chubster trying to get the jump on Drifting. So you never know. Are Inters better than the Softs? Are the Softs better than the Inters? Christian and Chubster trying to get on the act of Drifting, who's trying to find the grip. And at the moment, are Inters actually better? It's so close to call. It genuinely looks like Inters may still be better. Stelios and Carbro, 1 and 2, are pulling away from Drifting. Josh Hewitt is out of the race on his 100th Tier 2 Grand Prix. Really unfortunate. Strategy gambles did not pay off. Drifting, who's looked set for the win all race, has had a lot of things thrown at him, and unfortunately one too many, because look at the gap extending. The Inter drivers, I even doubted it, but apparently it's working. To the inside, Chubster is going to get the podium. Thought he bowled down, now they made contact, and Christian's trying to get the on them both. So they made slight contact, they connected. Christian to the inside trying to get ahead of Drifting, but he doesn't get the place. But Chubster looks like he's not going to throw the podium away. He's going to in fact solidify it. Carbro versus Stelios for the win. I don't know really what they've been involved in, to be fair, these two. Probably a few things, but at the moment, can you believe it? Crazy. We see in the background Christian trying to get past Drifting to the inside. He brakes later, and Drifting, I'm sure, is going to be really annoyed, but it's the gamble, and it wasn't the right one. It looked to be the right one. We're on the last lap of the Grand Prix. It so looked like Softs were the right choice, but it turns out the Inters have worked still, and the Softs just can't fire up. There's going to be a lot of fighting still on the last lap, but can Carbro get close enough? Tier 2, Season 6, Italy was his best ever result as Drifting's getting back at Christian then for 4th. He's still trying to hang on because Christian has penalties anyway. It won't matter. Carbro, he knew he had a chance at the win then, but just missed out to Josh Oken, Bratty Terror. But now Stelios in his second race. Again, from the trenches, he was down in 13th, down the order. And by the final lap, he's in the position where it matters. Warren's out of the race, he's into the pit lane. And then there were 12. But Stelios, through it all, has got just over 1 sector to navigate. He's pulling away from Carbro. Drifting's now down to 6th. He's fighting with Yonder on his debut, trying to get P4. Slides off, and Drifting stays in front. Eggy also trying to keep on the island. Same with Morgan. Same with Dello, who looks like he's going to get points on debut. Stelios on the straight for the final time. What a crazy race it has been. And now he blasts everything he has left on the straight. Carbro will also do the same, but he's not close enough. Chubster is going to hang on for the podium. Christian, even though it's P4 on track, which is great for McLaren, he does have 6 seconds, which is going to drop him down. Stelios wasn't the debut he wanted last week in Australia. Through all, again, chaos and carnage. Round the final corner, Stelios is a Grand Prix winner. He wins in EXFL Tier 2 Season X. It's the Chinese Grand Prix for Alpine, with the fastest lap of the race going to Chubster finishing 3rd. Carbro for McLaren gets P2, Drifting 4th, Yonder 5th on debut, Morgan 6th. Messes it all up a bit. Christian managed to hang on to 8th, Dello 9th on debut, Lee 10th, and Ridian will unfortunately be 11th by 59 thousandths. Adam P12. Stelios, the man from Greece, has, in greasy conditions, won the Chinese Grand Prix. Wow. My phone died. Wow, that is quite the gap as well, the top 3 to the rest. That just shows, wow. What a race. Hope everyone watching enjoyed that. That was quite, wow. So I'm pretty sure Drifting still leads the championship. But yeah, everyone predicted Stelios, oh, he might be too quick. But that really wasn't a race of pace, as I hope we never see that again. But that was it. It wasn't really a race of pace, right? It was just being on the right tyre at the right time and still having some good pace, to be fair. But fair play to Stelios. And Carbro, P2, his 3rd podium finally after so long. It's great to see him back up there. And Chubster, after a first pole, still hangs on to a podium. Got a feel for Drifting, but again, it's his own choice to put those soft compound tyres on. And yeah, DNF glitch here and there, but that'll get sorted. Wow. Going to be a lot of happy people and a lot of probably not so happy people. Yeah, I can interview 1st and 3rd. I've never talked to Stelios before, and I may have talked to Chubster once. Apparently it may have been a photo finish between Lee and Scotty, even though it was 60 thousandths, which is close, but it's not like really close, but still. Kind of lost my voice since the end of quali, really, but still. What a race. Right, Stelios and Chubster. We have the P3 man joining the party at the moment. Don't know if Stelios will at the moment. Hey there, mate. Hello. I'm good. You're a bit quiet, mate. Can't really hear you. I can hear you now. Okay, cool. Is there an option for you to include your audio?
How can you be mad?
Let me try and turn you up. There we go. Sorry, have you pressed the button to include your audio or?
Yeah, I did.
Cool. That's I can hear you now. All right. Wow. By the way, how do you actually pronounce your name? By the way, is it Mahir or?
Yeah, that's
Mahir. All right.
actually a good guess. No one doesn't really say it
All
right.
right. Cool. Mahir. Right. Well, due to Josh Hewitt getting a 5-place grid penalty, you inherited pole position, and that is your first ever EXFL Tier 2 pole position. You were looking great in qualifying, and thoroughly deserved it after we've seen some strong qualifyings from you last season, Austria especially. So you started off well, and then you fought with drifting, just really couldn't really hang on to him. But then it all kicked off right at the end, and a lot of people, I myself included, thought, why is he pitted onto inters right at the end? But the inters worked, and the softs didn't. Just take us through what you thought in the race. Like, how was that for you?
Well, I've been practicing the past 2 days, and I put rain and let it dry. And I realized when you put the softs, it's not gonna work after like the 5, 6 laps after the rain's gone and it dries up. So I just stayed with the inters. And then now I see drifting is mad about the laps 27 where we're like touching each other, but I'm turning left and it's still going right. But his softs
Yeah.
had no grip. So if he gives me, if I lose
I
points,
think there was a big enough gap, honestly, from you to the next car. There was like 8 seconds. So even if you got
yeah,
5 seconds for anything, it doesn't matter. But yeah, still a podium. So that is 4th and 3rd. So very consistent so far from you. 27 points. Definitely right in there. Don't exactly know where you are in the championship. Probably like 3rd or 2nd or 4th or so. It's very close between a lot
yeah.
of drivers. But anyway, a great race from you. Really enjoyed seeing you out there driving. Next week is Japan. How are you feeling about that track?
I love Japan.
You love Japan. That's great. Doesn't seem like Stelios is going to join the race winner, but he can enjoy himself with the win. And yeah, well done to you on the podium.
Thank you.
So that has been the EXFL Tier 2 Season X Chinese Grand Prix Round 2 of 22. What a race. And yeah, chaos and carnage once again. What more do you expect? What less do you expect? And we will see who is victorious next time in Japan. 2 different winners so far. Will it be 3 out of 3? I'm sure for certain this is going to be anything but one running away with it.